I think it was Montreal was the first one, and we go to the venue, and I don't think we didn't have any own technicians with us or anything. It was really just let's go see what happens, and it was sold out in advance. It was like 800 tickets sold. And we're like, what the fuck? We don't even have any merch with us. It's like, what's going on?
Sami, it's good to see you. The first time I get to interview you, you've only been, the band has only been around for 30 years. So, it's right on time.
Well, to be honest, I mean, it's been 4 years last time we played in North America.
Yes.
In your beautiful city, Toronto. Did I pronounce it right? Did they also, Toronto.
No. There's only one T in Toronto.
Toronto, yeah.
Yeah. That's how we say it. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's been let's wait a second with the actual album and go into the story and all that kind of good stuff. Let's go into what you just said. You haven't played Toronto in a few years, but Ensiferum is more popular than ever in North America, including Toronto. And that popularity has only grown over the last few years. The previous album boosted your North American popularity as well. Are those things that still surprise you after all these years? That, out of all the places in the world, you've always had a strong following in Europe and in Latin America. You've always had specific countries that have always supported you from day one, it feels. But to me, it feels that there's like a resurgence in popularity for all things Nordic, folk metal or whatever related in North America right now. Do you see that as well, and does that surprise you?
Well, to be completely honest, I'm a geek. I also like statistics. So of course I can see from like a Spotify,
right?
I can see North America is huge for us. I mean, there are a lot of people who listen to our music there, but that's something that many people don't seem to understand. Also, like if you talk about North America, it's a fucking continent. Right. You can't compare it to like a small country in Europe. But of course, it's a pity that we haven't toured there more. But now we're really trying to fix that with the new album. It's crazy because we need to get all the visas and stuff like this. We were actually trying to get visa for multiple years that you actually can do, but now there's been so many years that we haven't played in North America. They only gave us visa for 1 year. Can't promise anything, but I really hope we can make most out of it, so we can be there more than just once during the
for sure
upcoming year. But yeah, I remember first time we played in. It was just Eastern Canada tour that we did. It was the first time we played in North America. I'm sorry, I'm putting Canada and USA in the same package. Yeah, I know it's like I know you're two different countries with very different systems and so on. But first time we played in North America, continent, we played in Eastern Canada, and it was really like this guy organized everything, and it was just his dad was driving the van, and we didn't know what to expect. So we were like, okay, let's go there and see. Maybe we have like maybe 50 people curious, like a Finnish metal band coming. Like, ooh, let's go check it out. And I think it was Montreal was the first one, and we go to the venue, and I don't think we didn't have any own technicians with us or anything. It was really just let's go see what happens, and it was sold out in advance. It was like 800 tickets sold. And we're like, what the fuck? We don't even have any merch with us. It's like, what's going on? And it was same in every city. We played in Toronto, Quebec, and it was like insane. So we were like, okay, there's something going on here. And ever since, it's one of my favorite places to tour. And no ass kissing, because I'm really bad at lying. And I always think it's better to talk the truth, because then you don't get caught about lying. But every now and then I play around with this idea if I would move out of Finland at some point. and Canada is a very strong candidate.
I had to laugh when I saw the first press release for this new album coming out. It was like, we know it's been a long time you've had to wait for a new album of ours, but it's like, okay, it's 4 years. But that for most bands, that is a normal time these days. You guys, since your first album, have like clockwork, 2.5 years, basically. There was always a new album. Sometimes it was closer to 2 years, sometimes closer to 3 years, but it was like never stopping. Is that just part of like Finnish, efficiency, or what's the deal there?
I think it's very much the cycle of life. You work with the new songs. We work with the songs all the time. I mean, even when we're on the road and so on for years. And then when the album comes out, it's usually 2 years, very hectic touring. Especially now, I can promise now that next 2 years are going to be very full. And it feels really good because during pandemic, we did not tour that much. Yeah. And then after like 2 years, you usually... Well, the cliche would be like do 2 European, 2 North American tours, and then, of course, try to go to South America.
Right.
Maybe Japan, Australia, and if there's any chance to go to like China. And we played once in South Africa. We played in Israel. We played in Turkey. It's always nice if you can go to new places. And usually fans are really crazy in the countries. We played in India once, and that was one of the craziest crowds we ever had. But that's pretty much the cycle of life. You tour for 2 years, and then it's time to, let's have a few months really to finalize the arrangements, book the studio, and then after it's recorded, then it's not in our hands anymore. Then it's about the printing companies, and there's really a couple of years ago there was a big hassle globally with the vinyl printing. Some bands really had to postpone for months and so on. So I think it's only natural. Now it was 4 years. I think mainly because it was really hard to adjust your mind when you just work your ass off for an album. You start to see your calendar getting full, like yes, a lot of touring, good reviews, and then you see the calendar emptying all the time. Like what the fuck is going on? And like I think I was home for like a couple of weeks, and I was like, okay, I need to get a day job because I have cats to feed and I need to pay my rent. So, even though the pandemic is over, the world is not the same. Of course, you can't go back in time. I mean, I'm a geek. I love science and so on, but this we can't do. I'm still having my day job, but hopefully with this album, I can become full-time rock star, and then I might also have time to write my book more.
Exactly.
I love my day job. I work with disabled people at the moment, and it's fucking fantastic. I love my boss. I love my colleagues, and it's the best day job I ever had in my life. But it's also taking time away from the creative process.
Of course. This album is a concept album. A concept album in the true sense of the words, not a loosely defined concept that binds the songs together. There's a story being told. Exactly. There's an actual story being told. You've already announced that you are writing the full story in a book that we can hope to see at some point, which obviously once that's out, you have to bring along, and the merch stand will be, I'm sure, an instant signing session. Writing concept albums, very specific ones, can be tricky as well. Like, as I've had artists tell me, like, oh, it's really helped me figure out the gaps that I had with songs because I kind of knew where the story had to go, so the music can follow. But then those same artists might also tell me, but then it's also, I'm kind of shackled to a story, and I have, more layered things to say or what have you. Or in the case maybe of this album, people might stay at that surface story and not really dig deeper to the meaning that's behind all the songs. Because when you say, like, you've said a million times already that you're a geek, you like technology, use a lot of technology in this and the creation of this album as well. And then this story, without giving too many spoilers, you keep me honest here, is kind of like, you know, we have a couple of factions and there's one group of people that is trying to get ahead of others by using this magic-like technology that they don't fully understand, they may not fully control. And that sounds like a really cool fantasy story. That also sounds like the world today adopting technologies, and especially all the recent, you know, cries about Gen AI tools. So am I just reading between the lines and in a wrong way and seeing ghosts, or is there some truth that there's more to this story?
Let's go with the fact that there's no right or wrong interpretation of art.
But you're wrong.
No. I mean, this is, at some point, actually, I did not want to explain my lyrics at all.
Yeah.
I felt like if I really start to tell, like, okay, this song is about this and this and this, then I'm actually taking something away from people to really interpret their stuff. This actually, I made the decision with From Afar album, like a long time ago. We had a sound check coming, and we were some venue in Germany, and there was a lady in the venue. I thought she was working for the venue, but anyway, she was there, and she came talk to me, and she started quoting the lyrics of the album that was just released like a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, and she said, thank you. She was studying astronomy or something, and her family was from Iran, and she started quoting my lyrics and said, like, this is the first metal album ever that I listened to, and I started reading the lyrics, and you told the story of my people. She was like telling stories, but she felt like when she was reading my lyrics that I had something completely else in my mind when I was writing them. And it was that moment when I decided I'm not going to explain my lyrics ever, because I can't take away that, because I know how empowering music is. Because I'm a fanboy also. Like, I love music. I love so many bands and their songs, and it would be terrible if someone like Bruce Dickinson or Peter Tägtgren, because I love Pain, and he would come and say, "Oh no, you can't like this song because you think it like this, because I meant it like this." And like, it would be terrible. But for this one, the fact is, I've been thinking about this for over 10 years, and the AI is a bit over a year old. So no, I didn't have AI in my head when I started thinking about this story, and of course, the real world and my own life experience and what I read and see, of course, that affects everything that I do. Like all the Ensiferum lyrics also. But this book, it's not a metaphor of something that happens in the real world.
Got it.
It's really, I think some basic caricatures of human nature, like greed and this kind of stuff, is always there. It's in all the mythology.
Of course.
I mean, we haven't evolved beyond that yet in these few thousand years that we had written knowledge passed forward. So I think it's more like that. It's just a sum up of all the fantasy and sci-fi, whatever, even real stuff that I read in my life, and adding some stuff that I think might be cool. But yeah, but if you really start thinking about it, of course we are on the, how do you call it, on a step of something completely new. Like, I was just taking interviews from like Elon Musk. Some time ago, I checked an interview from him about AI and so on. It's very interesting to hear these people who are much wiser, because that's a sad thing when you're not smart, but you're smart enough to know that you're not smart.
From another perspective, writing a concept album can be a tricky balancing act, because everything has to flow from start to finish, but you have to make sure that songs stand on their own as well. Is that the most difficult part of creating an album like this? Like, take for example The Howl, one of the, like, it's like just a good rocking song, and that's a song that I would assume over time does really well with a live audience, and maybe apart from a few special shows, you will likely not always play this album from start to finish with a whole production.
No.
So you want to make sure that the individual songs can be played by themselves as well. Was that tough to do as a balance?
Yes, because Markus, he's the founder of the band and the main composer. Of course, we write and arrange everything as a band. So it's not a situation where someone brings the complete song and nothing is done together. That's never the case with Ensiferum. So he had an idea at some point, like, let's say 2020, like when we start talking about, getting humble again, like, okay, let's go back to rehearsal room and start composing the next album or something like this. And he had an idea that let's make an album with just one song, like 1 hour big pile of shit. And I was like, do you have a story? Do you have some alpha and omega? And he was like, no. And just idea, like same parts could come in different tempo and different key and different styles. I'm like, that's a disaster. I mean, how can I write something? How? And we didn't do that. because of the reason what you just said.
Yeah.
There needs to be real songs that can stand alone as individual songs. But the good thing that came out of this, I would say weeks, that we were really trying to figure out the parts that we had already at that point and new stuff that we were creating, that we were really trying. Like could we really make, like, let's say 3 very long songs that kind of still flow in the being this big pile of one huge epic song. What happened, the good thing, that the silver lining of all this was that Winter Storm is very cohesive. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Like it all the songs are pieces from the same puzzle.
Exactly.
Yeah, because the story was not there in the beginning. And this is something I always looked up on, and also I'm not a very envious person, but in a bit. One of my favorite bands is Nightwish. Tuomas, the main composer, the way he composes, he has a story and he starts to compose. And for me, as a kind of storyteller, that's like the ultimate goal that I would like to do one day. But with Ensiferum, it's really tricky because for us, it's the music that kind of comes first, and then then you start to get lyrics and vocal arrangement. Then, of course, they build up together, but the very core, the starting point is always melodies and riffs and some kind of musical ideas. Like The Howl, it was, like I said, rocking song. And when I got the idea of the lyrics, then I knew instantly, okay, I visualize. When I write lyrics, I'm quite cinematic person. I visualize things, and I could see through the eyes of the wolf running through woods, and when it was rocking, I kind of saw this and the landscapes and the mission that the spirit wolf, the shaman who gave his life away, he was on. Like, this song is really easy to write the lyrics when I got the idea. I mean, it was not ready, the song. Like, I want to emphasize that it was not like that. That was the problem in the beginning when we started working with the lyrics. I started coming up with some raw ideas for the raw song ideas we had. Nothing worked. Everything felt like artificial. And they didn't work. But when I got the idea that, okay, the album is going to be about this big story, well, the album is really like a small fraction of this big story. And then I got the idea of each song. Okay, this is about this character, this faction, this event. Like, okay, now it works. And then I could explain to others, like, okay, this song could actually take a turn to this direction, and this should be the order of the songs on the album, so that it makes sense. But yeah, it was a tricky one, because that was really not that was the first time ever we did something like this, and I don't think it's ever going to happen again, especially with the book, because the book and Ensiferum never meant to meet.
Got it.
But here we are. Never say never.
Yeah. So does that mean that at some point the Sami solo album that is conceived the way that you're describing is coming our way?
Let's see. That's definitely not on the table yet.
Okay.
I really want to write the book first.
Yeah.
And maybe eventually, if I feel too rich, maybe I'll. I don't know. I never even thought about this.
Okay.
Well, let's see. Let's see. That's something I learned now in the last 4 years. Never say never, and don't make too strict plans because you never know what the fuck is gonna happen in the world.
Sami, thank you so much for your time today. I wish we could talk for hours. I think you easily could.
I think so too.
But we'll save that for after your show in Toronto with a couple of beers, and I look forward to that. I'm super excited for everybody to discover this new album when it comes out soon now. And like I said, let's keep our fingers crossed and our eyes open for all these 2025 announcements that are coming our way.
Yes, exactly. It's a lot is happening in the next 2 years, and we have not forgotten our North American brothers and sisters.
There you go. Fantastic. You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.